The world around me shivered, as if reality itself were being folded in slow motion. The air thickened, dense and warm, and the light stretched into elongated silhouettes, shadows that didn't belong to the place I had come from. When my eyes finally adjusted, a foreign scent reached me. Incense, burnt oil, and something metallic, like ancient dust suspended in the air. My paws touched smooth stone, still holding the heat of the sun. Slowly, I lifted my head. Before me, a city breathed, alive, vibrant, but heavy with tension. Pale columns rose like silent sentinels, and statues of old gods coexisted uneasily with symbols reshaped by changing times. Something deep inside me murmured that I had arrived in a delicate fracture of history, a moment where entire worlds converged and clashed. The temporal vibration still echoed beneath my paws, humming like the hinge of a half-open door connecting past and future. The streets were filled with voices speaking in different rhythms. Greeks, Egyptians, Romans, and Christians, all sharing a space held together by a fragile thread. Then, in the distance, a massive silhouette dominated my vision. Its shape struck my heart before my mind could name it. The grandeur, the solemn stillness surrounding it, everything pointed to a single, undeniable truth. Time had guided me to a place unlike any other. The Library of Alexandria stood before me, but not in its golden age. A heavy, restless atmosphere pressed around it, as if knowledge itself was holding its breath, waiting for what was about to unfold. And I sensed danger, not physical danger, but something far more devastating. I approached carefully. Men in dark cloaks whispered among themselves, their eyes scanning every corner. Roman soldiers guarded the entrance with rigid expressions. Many citizens avoided even looking in its direction, as if a single glance could invite trouble. Religious tension hung in the air, like smoke. Alexandria had always been a melting pot of cultures, but now it felt close to spilling over. Christians were gaining power, while ancient cults were hunted as heresies. And amid this struggle, the library, symbol of dialogue and plurality, had become an invisible battleground. I heard murmurs about forbidden teachings, pagan authors, and texts accused of threatening rising beliefs. Strange. This place had always protected words, not weapons, ideas, not dangers. And yet many feared it, treating it as if darkness lived within its walls. Suddenly, a group ran past me, holding scrolls with a desperate delicacy. Their faces were filled with fear. They weren't protecting paper, they were protecting centuries of human memory. A chill traveled along my spine. For the first time, I understood that the destruction I would witness there would not be of bodies, but of minds. And that loss felt far more tragic. I slipped through a side door, too small for a human, perfect for me. Light cut through the columns in golden beams, illuminating motes of dust floating gently. Dust that may have brushed manuscripts written hundreds of years before my arrival. The rooms were vast, lined with niches packed with scrolls. The scent of ink, papyrus, and waxed wood filled the air, so intense it felt almost metallic. Every step echoed softly, as if the library itself were breathing with me. Scholars worked with frantic determination, copying, organizing, preserving whatever they could. These librarians were silent warriors fighting an enemy that couldn't be touched: time and ignorance. At a long table, a man copied fragments of ancient philosophers. His eyes were red, tired, almost defeated. He muttered that this might be his final chance. The rumors surrounding the Serapeum, the library's sacred annex, were spreading like wildfire. With every room I entered, the weight of impending tragedy grew heavier. The library wasn't a building. It was a living heart. And that heart was about to be struck with a fatal blow. I passed shelves containing treatises on astronomy, medicine, mathematics, philosophy, Eratosthenes, Hipparchus, Archimedes, minds that had reshaped civilization. Fragments of their thoughts lived quietly within those walls. On a tall table, maps of the known world stretched out like painted tapestries. Coastlines not yet recorded in modern atlases, ancient trade routes, constellations charted with breathtaking precision. In another chamber, scrolls translated from dozens of languages showed that the library did not simply collect knowledge, it wove it together. Cultures did not compete there, they conversed. And that, I understood, was why it was feared. Knowledge belongs to no single faith, no empire, no authority. It belongs to whoever seeks it. And such freedom always unsettles those who cling to power. My tail lowered instinctively. A library is a living organism, and this one's pulse was growing faint. A distant crash echoed through the halls. People froze. It wasn't an attack, at least not yet. But the atmosphere was thick with psychological warfare. Voices outside rose in anger, clashing over faith, authority, and morality. Through the entrance, I heard stern commands. Soldiers marched with urgency. Inside, some scholars hurried to hide scrolls. Others erased ink marks from desks, terrified that even traces of their work could become evidence against them. A woman, likely a philosopher, rushed to close an inner door. Fear distorted her face. She whispered that they were getting bolder and that the Serapeum was already branded a pagan temple. An open target, the Serapeum, the sacred annex that protected a portion of the library's collection. A place of study, but also of ancient symbolism. And the most vulnerable point of all. I breathed slowly. The air felt hotter. History was approaching a breaking point, and I stood directly in its path. Chaos erupted without warning. Shouts filled the streets. Christian extremists demanded the Serapeum's closure, calling its texts dangerous, its gods false, its knowledge a threat to their faith. Soldiers struggled to tame the crowd, but fear mingled with fanaticism can become a force stronger than any shield. I felt the vibration of that instant. It wasn't just an assault on a building, but on an idea. I ran to the Serapeum's entrance. Barricaded from within, it shook under the weight of furious hands pounding against it. Inside, scholars shouted orders, scrambling to save whatever they could. Dust rose from the ground, carrying tiny particles of ancient papyrus. Each speck floated like a fragile remnant of human memory, on the verge of vanishing forever. I understood then. This wouldn't be the legendary inferno of myths. It was something much sadder, destruction driven by intolerance. From inside came the crack of splintering wood. Not fire, yet, but vandalism. Shelves collapsing, scrolls torn apart, sacred objects shattered in blind rage. Ignorance strikes hardest when it fears what it cannot grasp. A scholar sprinted past me, clutching 2 scrolls to his chest. He trembled, not for his own safety, but for the fate of what he carried. A single tear fell to the ground, not of fear, but mourning. In the back, I watched a niche collapse. Scrolls spilled out like dry leaves. Destruction didn't require flames to become eternal. Neglect was enough. The belief that knowledge was dangerous was enough. What perished there wasn't paper alone. It was the courage to think differently, to question, to imagine. Every blow against those shells was a blow against the future. The temporal vibration returned, faint but deep, resonant, as if time itself recognized that humanity had been wounded. A new smell seeped into the air. Not a towering blaze, small embers, scattered, accidental, or intentional. Burnt fragments drifted upward, glowing faintly like fragile birds dissolving mid-flight. With every ember that fell, I wondered what had been lost. Astronomical treatises, entire philosophical works, histories of vanished peoples, manuscripts that might never have existed anywhere else. Even reduced to the Serapeum, the library was a symbol, and that symbol was being crushed. A silent ache grew within me, deep, heavy, like watching a part of humanity's collective mind being torn away. The temporal vibration intensified suddenly. It tugged at me, pulling me away before everything collapsed into dust. The air trembled. The light flickered unnaturally. I looked one last time at the shattered corridors. There were no heroes there, no victors, only loss. A loss that would echo across centuries. I closed my eyes and let time take me. When I opened my eyes again, darkness surrounded me. The ground beneath me was cold stone. A hot wind carried the scent of distant smoke. Flames flickered somewhere beyond the shadows. I heard screams. Not the quiet, suffocated panic of Alexandria, but the roar of an entire city fighting for survival. A sound ancient, overwhelming. Troops, chaos, devastation. The sky glowed red. And as I lifted my gaze toward the towering structures, the columns, the marble, the vast silhouettes, I knew exactly where I was. Rome. At the very moment when fire would reshape its destiny forever. If you want to keep traveling with me through the moments that shaped humanity, leave a like, subscribe, and activate the notifications. With every leap through time, we discover how the past still echoes in the present. I'll see you in the next episode.